Okay, so for number 11, it says use your knowledge of the exponent laws to create an expression that would produce the following answer: 2a to the 7th power c over 5b. It says note, use expression. The expression itself must have at least 2 of the exponent law. So these are just some examples of the exponent law. You have the product of power, power to a power, coefficient of powers, power of a product, and zero exponent. And I think there's actually about 15 exponent laws. So these are just a few of the examples, or the most common ones that are used. And your question said that you should use 2 of these in the expression. So product of power is where when you're multiplying exponents which have the same base. If you notice, the base is the same, both of them are x, but the power that it is raised to is different. When that is the case, all you do is just add the powers and the base remain the same. For the power to a power, once you multiply the exponent in this case, so it's just one base, but you just multiply the exponents. Coefficient of a power is where they both have the same base, but the powers are different, but in this case there's a division sign. When you're dividing 2 exponents with the same base, you subtract the powers. And power of a product, again, this is like a base, but like it's a variable, xy. When it is raised to a power, so say for example this was say 3x and 3y, you would multiply the power by each of the variable and the coefficients that are there. So it would be, say this was raised to the 2, it would be 2 times 3, 2 times x by itself just simply mean x to the 1 power. So it would be whatever this power is, in this case would be 2, so it would be 1 times 2, and we said this would be 3y, then it would be the same thing, 2 times 3, and meaning the square root of 3, and 2 meaning y, 1 times 2, which is the same thing as y square. I don't know if you get that one. That's a bit, a bit messy in terms of explanation. But what it's simply saying is that whatever you have in the bracket, if it is raised to a specific power, you multiply each thing in the bracket by that power. I think that's a much easier way to explain it. Whereas the zero exponent, once it is raised to the power of 0, then it always equal to 1. So even if this is 4 raised to the power of 0, 1. 3 raised to the power of 0, 1. In the question that I choose to do, I'll be using the negative exponent law, the product of powers, and the coefficient of powers law. I didn't explain this one, which is the negative exponent law. With the negative exponent law, when it is raised to a negative power, then it is equal to 1 over whatever the power was. So say for example this was 2 raised to minus 2 power, then remember the number 2 is simply 2 over 1. Again, that is self-explanatory, but no one goes around writing 2 over 1, 2, but we know in fact that it means 2 over 1. So when it's raised to a negative power, this would become, you flip it, so 1 over 2, and the power become positive, so it would be 2. So I will be using all 3 of these exponent law in the expression that I have created. And remember also that the question said that it should equal to 2a to the 7th power c over 5b. So the expression that I chose was 2 over 5 a to the 4th power b cube a cube c over 5b to the fourth. So using the laws, we're going to see how it breaks down. So before, if you notice, a good way to kind of do this thing is to like group the powers together so that when you're working them out, you don't necessarily get confused. Meaning, if you notice, I rewrite it here. I put the b's together, I put the a's together. That's just simply what I mean. Put the variables that are similar together so that when you're trying to simplify the expression, it's much easier for you. So I rewrote the expression. So this was the original expression that I have written, and it's going to be equal to this. So I've rewrote it having all the common variables together. So the first thing is that, remember, this is a coefficient of Powers law, and with the coefficient of Powers law, when you're dividing and both of them where the bases are the same, what we do, we subtract the powers. So if you notice, the base is the same for the b's, so the only thing I'll need to be doing is subtracting. So it would be b3 minus 4, a to the fourth power and a to the third power. When it is multiplication, what do we do? So for multiplication, it is the product of powers, and in this case you add the powers. So for the a's, I'm going to add 4 plus 3. C is just there by itself, but this simply means c to the 1 power. But again, it's self-explanatory. It's not written like that. It's just written as c. So we're simplifying it. So if you notice so far, I have used 2 of the exponent law, which would be what the question had asked us to do. So when I simplify, 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So that would be b to the minus 1 power. 4 plus 3 is 7, so that is a to the 7th power, and c. For the third law that I'll be using, when it is raised to a negative exponent, this is called the negative exponent law, then it becomes 1 over a positive power. So in this case, because this is b raised to minus 1, then this would be 1, just showing you on the side what it is. So b to the minus 1 would be 1 over b to the positive 1, which is the same as 1 over b, right? Because as we said before, b simply means b over 1, and b can be anything. B can be 2, 3, whatever. So back to the question. So to further simplify it, this b to the minus 1 would simply be, it would simply be 5b, because remember, just imagine like you have a 1 here, because we said that it would be 1 over b, but you don't necessarily put the 1, again, it's not needed, so it's just simply 5b. So it would be equal to 2a to the 7th power c divided by 5b, which is what the question had asked. So the final answer is 2a to the 7th power c over 5. I also had written a second way it could be done. As I said, it's a number of ways we could have done it. This is just one of many. Another expression that we could have written is 10 over 25 with the same powers, the a to the 4th, b to the 3, a to the 3rd, and c over b4. So I didn't really change the powers here. The only thing I changed was the fraction, and it's the same working out, but what you would do is simplify this fraction by dividing it by 5, meaning 5 into 10 goes 2 times, and 5 into 25 goes 5 times. So it would still equal back to 2a to the 7th power c over 5b. So as you can see, there is more than one way to do the same question. I hope that was self-explanatory enough.